How's it going, everyone? It's Johnny Beard here, and welcome to another edition of Streamer Stories podcast with me, Johnny Beard, where we talk about the history of gaming with fantastic streamers that we all know and love. And today's episode, we feature the amazing ReAnimateHer. Here she is. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you so very much for having me on your show. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thank you for agreeing. Thank you so much for you agreeing. I'm such a big fan of your streaming. You're so cool. You're just so cool.
Thank you.
So I'm a big fan. So but before we talk about now, let's talk about the beginning though. So what was ReAnimateHer like when she was growing up playing games?
Oh, growing up, I was a loner into horror. I played the first time I had my very own console. We had Mario. It was an NES. We got it Christmas morning in 1985.
Okay.
So that's how I was old enough to play in 1985. We received a game called Mario. Obviously, you know Mario. And there was another game. I want to say it was Castlevania. I haven't looked it up since, but it was a game that had skeletons, and you had to battle your way through skeletons.
Right. Wow. So
that was one of the first two games that I've played.
Wow, goodness. I mean, again, so you remember Mario coming out? You know that must have been something. Obviously, compared to just thoughts about that. I mean, you know, how did you expect Mario to be the success it is now? I mean, that's a huge question, I suppose. But I mean,
no, I gather nobody really knew too much about the gaming industry. We all used to go to arcades back in the day, right? Those were the thing to go to. You had your Atari 2600, your ColecoVisions, which I played on when I was a lot younger, but I never owned one of those. When Nintendo came out, my parents got us an NES, and no, at the time, I honestly didn't think that it was going to be as big as it was. You know, arcades were still a thing. Arcades was still really big back then in 1985.
Yeah.
But to see where gaming technology has come so far from 1980s.
100%. So you mentioned arcade gaming. So again, what games did you play in the arcades?
Oh, wow. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, House of the Dead, nice. Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Gallagher, Space Invaders. A lot of my favorites.
Oh man, what? Wow, you must have stopped here. You played them all. It's so good. It's so good. I mean, I love House of the Dead as well. I bet you've spent a lot of quarters in those machines then.
Oh yeah, I would save up all of my chore money. I had a newspaper out, so between buying Fangoria magazines as a kid, I was also saving money for the arcade, and we would drop, I can't even tell you how much money in a month we would drop, because that's where everybody went. Everybody went to the arcade.
So your first console then was probably the NES, was it? Possibly with Mario?
Yes, the NES. Nintendo Entertainment System was my very first owned console. My very second one was when I was an adult and I bought myself a PlayStation.
Right. Okay then. So what happened then between then 85 and adulthood then when it comes to games? Did it just, become like secondary to life and maybe horror?
No, arcades. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. So the gaming system, the NES, has lasted us. I still have it. It's in my living room as we speak. But it was a lot of arcades and then playing games on the NES, like Friday the 13th, which was an NES game. Nightmare on Elm Street, which is also an NES game. So we kept getting little cartridges. They were big cartridge for the NES, but again, we would also still go down to the arcade.
Wow.
Or the roller rink, do some roller skating, and then get some arcade in.
Fantastic. So the NES then lasted you a long time. So lots of games, probably on that console. Then, did you play? Were you someone that played the game multiple times till it was possibly worn out, or did you just play from one game to another?
Me and my sister loved playing Mario. We loved. There was this other game we had. I can't think of the name of it, but it had a mat that you would plug into the NES, and you would almost like a dance mat. I don't remember what it was called, but we had a blast with that. But yeah, we would play games over and over. We only had a select few games, so and some of them were hard. I like Friday the 13th was super hard. That game I must have played a million times and still haven't beaten it.
Oh man, and did you beat Mario in the end? Or
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
I still haven't beaten it. So that's a hard. Those games are so hard though. That's the thing. They build
There's
character.
no save.
No, there's no save. No.
There's no save. You get X amount of lives, and that's about it. And that NES has lasted that long. It's such a simple machine, believe it or not. You can take it apart and clean what you need to clean, especially the contacts, and then put it all together. Unlike an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 or 5, you're not taking that apart unless you know exactly what you're doing. Yeah. And an NES, you can just pull it apart. Old gaming systems are easy to pull apart and just clean out.
And like it's a trivia question that the games are so small in size. Like I think the original Super Mario was like 32 kilobytes or something like that. So it's amazing how fast. It's fascinating how far it's gone, technology and gaming.
That it is. I know. We went from playing like asteroids on a black and white computer monitor. Actually, they were like green. I did green tint to virtual reality and literally using our body parts to fight things. Like, what?
I've been trying much VR. I haven't actually talked about VR much on this stream of stories. So, do you play VR? Because I've not played a lot.
No, I do not. I've had a chance to play once, but that was at a EV Games. They had their whole little setup there. It was a couple of years back. But no, I don't have any VR stuff. Oh, good. Unfortunately.
I played Resident Evil 7 VR at a friend's house a few months ago, and oh man, I was so nauseous. Like I didn't think I was going to be. I don't get motion sickness or anything like that, generally speaking.
Oh wow!
I was like, oh, and I've played Resident Evil 7 many times, and then I was like, oh, I need to sit down. So.
Yeah, wow! It must have done something, right? Just the movement maybe in there, the frame rates that you see.
Yeah, I don't know. So you went from NES to PlayStation. I mean, that's a journey, isn't it? Really, let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
So what was the PlayStation like? What was the first games you got on the PlayStation?
Spyro, and then of course I got. Who doesn't love that purple dragon?
So cool.
Then I bought from one of the. I think it was EB Games. It was a CD of the classic arcade game, so it had Space Invaders on it. It had Gallagher on it, so I was playing those games. And then much later on, is it Boomstick? I can't remember which one it is, but one of the Evil Dead games with Ash Williams.
Fistful of Boomstick, I think it was. I think so.
That. There's a few. Yeah, I own them all. There was one for PlayStation, one for PlayStation 2, and I think there was one out for Xbox. There was also an MMO out for PC back in the day. And there was another. Oh hell!
Did you see there was an MMO Evil Dead game?
Yeah. Really? Then in 2022, there's going to be an Evil Dead game coming. But yes, there's an MMO. I don't even know if it's still around, but there is an MMO out there for Ash Williams.
That's I never knew that. That's amazing. That's what a concept.
And Blood Rain is another game that I loved.
Yes. That's a shame that game series has died now, unfortunately. But they made movies on it, I think, didn't they?
They made I believe there's 2 movies. There is a remastered version of Blood Rain for Steam. That I know. I've played it on there recently, not that long ago. And I think they might be trying to create another one, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure.
All right. So you played some Spyro. So did you play all the trilogy? Did you play just one of them?
No. I just did the first Spyro. Yeah. I really enjoyed the first Spyro. And then I got into PC gaming.
Right. Okay.
Later on in life.
Okay. So when it comes when did PC gaming come in? Was that a more recent thing, or was that?
No, it was in the 90s when I got into PC gaming. I think it was called Chiller. Basically, you were an investigator and you had to go through this place to go find a missing girl. Then I got into a third-person game called Mech Warriors Mercenaries. They had Black Knight, Vengeance, and Mercenaries. So I got into that, and that took up a lot of my life.
Wow, excellent.
StarCraft.
Oh yes. So you kind of dabbled in both then. So you weren't really you had PC and console gaming. You weren't really like just console or just PC. You kind of had both.
No,
Did
I had both. Yep.
did handheld gaming coming in at all, or do you play like on the Game Boy?
I
Or
did have a Game Boy. I had one of the original Game Boys. And I'm so sad I got rid of it when I moved from province to another province. I had so much stuff and I got rid of it when I wasn't thinking about keeping it. I had a Game Boy, and then the one that I had was a Nintendo DS. I think it was a DS Lite. I'm not 100% sure, but it was like that big. So I used to play on that as well. Left 4 Dead. I played Left 4 Dead and those brain games on that one.
Right, excellent, excellent. So, growing up, then, did you play with family, play with parents, siblings, or? But you said
My sister.
Yeah. So, did you play a lot of co-op games? What did you play if so?
We did a lot of Mario back and forth. There was that, I think it was the game called Castlevania that we would take turns playing. Then there was I was this mat. I can't remember what it was, but it was a square mat. You plugged it into the NES, and I believe it was more of an exercise kind of game. Me and my sister would play that a lot. I don't remember the name of it though for the life of me. And I just thought about it now because I remembered the mat being on the basement floor.
Oh man, yeah, those mat games. I mean, I remember I got like a Disney one on the PlayStation. I was never good at rhythm games like that, to be honest with you. But yeah. So do you play with friends as well, or is it just family?
Just family. Yeah, just my sister.
All right.
Cousins. We would play Mario. A couple of my cousins had Sega Dreamcast and Segas, and so we would play over there. There was Crazy Taxi Driver, I think it was called.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's what it was called. We did a lot of that as well.
Excellent. Brilliant. So tell us about, do you have like any favourite stories growing up that you'd like to tell about gaming? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Not about gaming.
Like maybe like a time when you finished a game, like one of those iconic moments of, yes, I finally beat it.
When I was doing PC gaming back in the day, we were playing a game called Mech Warriors Mercenaries, and they had a league called a Mech Warrior League. I started a clan on there and started doing competitive gameplay versus other teams, other clans in Mech Warriors. So we won numerous matches. I think that would be one of my stories, one of my favorite stories, because I've never been in a league before. This was my first time being in a league, and my first time running a full clan of a group of people. We had, I think it was like 30 people at the time, and we would all have different tournaments and different ladders. It was really a good time.
Awesome. That's so cool. So what are you playing right now? What games are you playing right now?
Oh, I love my indie horror games. So currently, I'm playing Ghost Hunters Corp.
Oh, yes.
Devour, Malum. So fun, Malum. I love that game. Those are the 3 that I have on the go currently, but I am super stoked for Back 4 Blood that's coming.
Yes, 100%. Same. I can't wait for that game to come out. So in terms of like streaming games and playing games offline, do you play all your games because of your schedule on streaming, or do you play any offline games as well?
When I have time, I do have some downtime here and there. I do play games offline by myself or with my friends. Sometimes I do some Ghost Hunter solo play on Extreme, trying to beat Extreme, which is like really hard. Or I will go and try to go back through some of my single player story mode games on PC to get the achievements, like Blood Wash. We played Blood Wash yesterday. Great short indie game. I would definitely recommend it. I'm missing like 4 of the achievements, so later on today, I'm going to go back and grab those achievements. As I do play my Xbox games, story driven, usually by myself.
No, I need to play that Blood Wash. I've heard good things about it.
Great game.
So, if you had to choose one game, all time, that you choose as your favorite game, what would it be and why?
It is because I love so many games for so many different reasons. I'm gonna have to say Friday the 13th.
On the NES?
No, that one's so hard I'd probably die trying to finish it. The one for Xbox, PC, PlayStation,
Yeah.
that one by Gun Media or Gun Interactive now. Um, it was by far my favorite game when it came out. I love the Friday the 13th franchise. It is my number one. So when the game came out, I played it religiously for 2 years straight. And it's a game that I can still enjoy with friends. Unfortunately, it's not being updated and everything, so it's kind of losing its playability amongst other people. But with me and my friends, we get to play it. So if I had to pick one game, it would be that.
Fantastic. So, in your experience of playing games, then, is there one game that you can think that can stand out as possibly one of the worst that you've played? Is there any bad games, any bad eggs amongst them that come to mind?
Oh, not that I can think of, but games that I cannot play because they make me sick. I can tell you would be Far Cry, the one with the cult. I think that's 5 or 4. One of them that has the cult in it would be that game and some of Dying Light. Right. Not that they're bad games; they're great games. It's just that I can't play them for some reason. They make me motion sickness, and I don't have motion sickness.
That's strange.
Whatever it is, after a couple hours of playing, I have to stop.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a real shame because I've heard good things about those games, but if you can't play it, you can't play it. Okay. So, so do you play games like, again, I know you've been playing games since the 80s, but obviously quite a recent concept is the idea of getting achievements and trophies and stuff like that. Is that something that you do a lot of?
Yeah, I try to get majority of the achievements and trophies when I first play through it. If it's obtainable, if it's like a story-driven game, or if it's a small PC game, like I said, Bloodwash has, I think, 16 achievements. I do try to go for all of the achievements. Some of them I give up after so many tries, right? Because it's like, screw it, I'm just gonna wait and then go back to it. But I'm not completely focused on achievements when I'm playing. I'm just usually just for the experience, and then I'll go back and get the achievements.
Excellent. All right. So so if you were stuck on a remote island and you could only choose 3 games, what would they be and why? And you can have an internet connection on this island, so don't worry about
that. So you can have an internet connection. So one of them would be Friday the 13th. That would be one of my games. Then the other one would be Ghost Hunters Corp. Ghost Hunters Corp, I love it. It's a game where you hunt ghosts, and it's like Phasmophobia, but it's more in depth. Okay. And it gives you all real ghost hunting tools that a ghost hunter would have. So that would be another game. And for comedy relief, I would have to do South Park's Fractured Butthole. It's funny. It's South Park. You can have a good time with it. It's just a fun game.
Oh, brilliant! Great choices. So let's talk about like the obviously you have the comedy relief, like you said, the lightheartedness. So you mentioned Spy, you mentioned South Park. Is there any other games as well, probably that's popped up over the years that you do like as well that are non-horror?
Non-horror ones. I've got to really think.
I know. Sorry, we can go to horror afterwards. Don't worry.
No, non-horror related games. I do enjoy World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I'm still a noob at that game, but I still play it every now and again because I enjoy the questing. Trying to think what else is my other GTA.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5. Yeah, believe it or not, I actually have fun in that one.
Oh, I love GTA 5 as well. Oh, so who's your favorite character on GTA 5?
What? The Trent?
Is it the one that's
crazy guy?
Crazy guy, yeah. Oh God, I forgot his name myself. Oh,
what's his name? I can't remember his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Trevor. That's it. Yeah, I do like that one. I do a lot of online GTA play though.
Oh yeah, do you? I've not done that. I keep watching a few streamers do it. It's so fun. It's so much fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Okay, so we got to stretch this out now in terms of horror.
Okay.
Queen of Horror, we've got to do this. So you mentioned obviously Friday the 13th and Friday the 13th. You've gone from Friday the 13th to Friday the 13th. So in between of those games, then let's talk about like 90s horror then. So what games in the 90s did you like?
Oh, 90s horror games. I don't know when they came out. There was a Chiller. I believe the full name was Chiller. It was just a single player story driven game for PC.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another game that I actually announced it on Twitter, and I cannot remember the name of it. Non-horror game that I was addicted to, and this was not the 90s, but the 2000s, is Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh, yeah? A great game. There's nothing wrong with that at all, is there? It's a great game.
No, and I was highly addicted to that one.
So I know you mentioned a lot of indie horror, and we'll definitely come to those in a bit. So, like, do you play much like Doom? Do you play Resident Evil?
Yes, Resident Evil. I've played Resident. I forget about Doom and Resident Evil. I've played all of the Resident Evil games.
All right.
I've played Doom. I haven't played the newest Doom.
No.
I don't think Left 4 Dead series was done in 2009, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
No, that was Left 4 Dead 2. I played Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead 2. I've done all the Resident Evil, except for Village. I'm still in a common gameplay of Village. I've played Doom.
Did you play much
Blair Witch? Silent Hill?
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yep. So, enjoyed the movie as well.
Yes, loved the first movie. I can't speak about the second movie, but I loved the first movie.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite Resident Evil?
Biohazard number 7.
Yeah. Oh,
and it's because it scared the ever-living shit out of me. All of the other Resident Evils were good, and they were more of a shooting game, right?
Yeah.
Where in Biohazard, it was a storyline. I mean, they were all storyline, but this one was a bit different than the previous ones. And I really enjoyed the lady. Oh, what's her name with the spider crotch? She always got me. Marguerite.
Yes.
Marguerite. She always got me in that damn house. But I would have to say it's that one because it had the most jump scares. It scared the ever-living crap out of me numerous times. So that one is by far my favorite. And then I'll have to say my second one is Resident Evil 2.
Yep. As in the original or the remake?
The original. The remake was good as well.
Yeah.
I like the remake.
Oh, man. Agreed. Yeah, the Baker family in 7 were just... it was a fantastic concept. I mean, obviously, like we all know about where it was inspired from the 80s horrors, etc. But I mean, it still had its own life for itself. I thought it was really great. All right, so I know you mentioned Naughty's horror. So when you mentioned games that maybe came out a bit later on, what other horror games? So you mentioned Left 4 Dead. How many?
I Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 were two games that I know they came. I believe it was early 2000, 2004, or 2000, and then 2009 for Left 4 Dead 2. I want to say. Those two games took up a lot of my time. MechWarrior Mercenaries took up a lot of my time. Those are what I would basically play on PC. And then I still continue to play Blood Rain on my PlayStation 2. So I think that would be Blood Rain 2? Or would it 3? I also played God of War, which I believe came out in the 2000s as well.
Yes, it did. Yeah. So you had a PlayStation 2. So you had a PlayStation 2. Where did you go from there? Did you have a PlayStation 3? Did you have an Xbox? Where did you?
Oh yeah. So my console addiction happened. So the NES, and then as an adult, I got the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, 4. I don't have a 5. I have an Xbox, a 360, an Xbox with that was my spawns. And then I went to Xbox One and then an Xbox One X.
Excellent. So the whole collection nearly then. That's brilliant.
Yeah. I got some consoles that I don't play at all. I have an Atari and a Coleco. Right now they're still in boxes. I have no space to set them up.
Yeah.
So I have my Coleco and Atari in a box.
So you started off with the NES and then kind of drifted to Xbox and Sony and PC. Did Nintendo continue at all, or does it just kind of not as much?
Oh no, well, not for me. I bought a Wii for my. Oh, I have a Nintendo Switch too. I forgot that I have one.
That's all right.
We bought a Wii U for my spawns, and then a Wii, and then a Wii U for the spawns, and I have a Nintendo Switch.
Right, excellent. God, you got almost everything, haven't you? It's so cool.
It's disgusting, though. It's a lot of money, and it's a bad habit.
but a very highly entertaining habit.
It is. It definitely is. You're never bored as long as the power doesn't go out. And if the power goes out, you got your Nintendo Switch. So hopefully you got a generator to charge it back up in an hour.
Oh man. So Left 4 Dead 2. Or Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, should we say? So how many hours did you spend playing that? Did you have a favorite character that you go to?
Ellis.
Ellis, yeah.
Ellis was my favorite in 2. And Bill in 1. Hours, because those maps are huge as well, right? And they don't give you a mini map. There is no mini map. It's you find your way, right? So I think 45 minutes per map, an hour, and I would sit there and play them until I completed the whole thing, and then you would do the mutations, which would be your online play.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Hours.
Oh man, I love the mutations. I love playing versus mode on Left 4 Dead. So how many hours did you play with versus mode? Did you have a certain what's it? The infected, aren't they? What was your favorite infected?
I enjoyed the jockey.
Oh yeah.
And Hunter. But when I would play, we had a team of people that I used to play with.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun doing that. We would just play all different types of stuff, especially when it came to the versus games, right? But I did a lot of story play. I did more of the co-opable, like, walk around the map play, but more than the versus.
Right. Excellent. Did you ever try the mutation, which was just tanks? Did you ever try that one? When it was just 4 tanks running after the party?
No, I don't believe I have.
I played that. That was insane. If you're at a party, you just run. Because obviously they're just tanks running after you.
I don't think I've played it quite often.
Oh man, sorry, just memories for myself. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I had to think back. I know I sunk a lot of time into the co-op play.
Fantastic. All right. So indie horror, because again, this is like, tell me if I'm wrong, but I mean, for me, this is really a bubbling genre now. In terms of nowadays, it's so easy to find indie horror. It's something that kind of has evolved as time's gone on, really. So. What was the indie horrors that you can maybe remember from yesteryear that you used to like to play?
Let's see. Let's go. I'm trying to think back of some of the original horror games that I played, but I know some of the indies that I played over the last couple of years would be Blair Witch.
Yeah,
was a good game. In Infliction Extended Cut.
Yeah. I played it recently.
I always mess that name up. It's Infliction, but for some reason I want to say Inception. I don't know why. Infliction was really good. I loved that game. I loved all the horror throws that were in that game as an indie game. Alan Wake, and it's getting remastered.
Indeed.
Super stoked for Alan Wake. There is also White Noise. White Noise. I don't know if you ever played White Noise.
No, I haven't.
A small horror game. I think there's White Noise 1 and 2. Co-opable. Dead Space is another one.
Excellent, yeah.
Love Dead Space. Trying to think of a few others that I go back to see. Oh, Simulacra. That came out quite a bit back. Simulacra. I don't know if you ever played that one.
No.
It's a good mini game. Oh, sorry about that. That was my computer. I don't know if you heard that.
That's okay.
It's a really good game. It's about a phone, about your cell phone, and a spirit getting into your cell phone and killing your friends and killing you. It's a fun game. There's Simulacra 2, but I prefer Simulacra 1.
Right. Okay. Wow. Okay. Did you play anything like Amnesia? Did you play anything like that in the past?
I started to play Amnesia, but I have not played it. There's a few games that I can't play. Paper Dolls is another one that I can't play. If I do play it, I have to take my time because I don't know if it's the FPS that does something to me, but it makes me a little ill. Makes me nauseous.
That's a shame. Yeah.
It is, because there's a few really good ones that I tried to play with friends, and I just can't do it. There's a really another good horror game. It's a short one. It's called Horror Hospital.
Okay.
That's another older game that was just popped into my memory.
Right. I'm trying to think of it as myself now. Have you tried playing Franbo? Played that
What
one?
was that?
Franbo.
No.
No, that's a one that I'd recommend as well. I'm trying to think of others. Oh,
Fear.
sorry.
Fear's a good one.
Fear. Yes. That is a
Fatal
good one.
Frame. Now that I'm like the wheels are turning.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So when did streaming come into the picture really, with yourself?
I stumbled upon streaming as a viewer in 2016.
Okay. Yeah.
And I didn't become a streamer until later on, much later in 2016, probably around October, November. And I started out over on Twitch. I didn't stream full time. It was just like, test it out, see what it was like kind of thing. And I didn't really care for Twitch at the time. And then I had an Xbox One, and I was part of the Xbox Insider crew. So I was part of the Alpha team. And back in the day, around 2016, Beam was getting an integrated app with Xbox. And I was able to be a part of the testing team for the app integration.
Right.
So then I started to stream directly from my Xbox, because I didn't own a computer at the time. So directly from my Xbox with a Kinect and a Turtle Beach headset. And I streamed to a website called Beam, which was then later on bought out by Microsoft, who then named it Mixer.
Right.
I started my streaming career on there.
Right. Yeah. I've heard a few people starting their careers on Mixer. So what was different between Mixer and Twitch and maybe YouTube, if you did any streaming on YouTube? What was it like over there?
The biggest thing that stood out for me on Beam was the platform was more of a community than anything. No matter where you went into, it was small, but no matter what stream you went into, whether they were partnered or not, you felt accepted. You felt it was very almost like a family. I felt like there was a few streams that I would go to on a regular basis before I started streaming on Beam, that it was like the bar Cheers. I don't know if you remember a TV show called Cheers.
Yes.
So you know how you walk into Cheers and everybody knows your name and you feel welcome and you're sitting there and you're laughing, right? That's what Beam was like. It was a different experience. It's I miss it sadly.
Yeah.
Mixer still had the feel. It was still not a big contender against Twitch. It still had the small feel to it. It was really nice streaming on there, and it's because of Beam and Mixer that I have the community that I have currently, even though I stream on Twitch, because the majority of my community followed me right on over to Twitch.
Right. Okay. Did you ever try YouTube at all, or was that was the journey?
I didn't try YouTube until this year, believe it or not. I had a YouTube channel. Everybody had a YouTube channel, and I would directly upload from the Xbox to when they had their Xbox capture, and you can edit it, and then you can send it right to your YouTube. I didn't have a PC. But I never actually streamed on there until this year.
Right. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, again, you use a lot of your content really for different things, don't you? Obviously, because you've got a lot of the horror movie elements to your streaming and to your persona. So do you use all the platforms individually, or do you kind of collectively use them as one unit?
I use them individually I try to create different content on all the platforms so they don't get repetitive, but I do integrate them.
Yeah.
So, for instance, my YouTube channel is mainly for me to discuss horror, do some movie reviews, I'll do unboxings of horror-related stuff like that. But then I also use my Twitch for indie games like Malum and Ghost Hunters Corp. I do tutorials on how to play those games solo, and then I put them up there. I'm going to be starting doing a review on indie horror games as well on there. I also use I do my coffee chat of horrors on Sundays on Twitch, which then I take that and I upload it to YouTube. So there's kind of crossover,
Yeah.
but I do make different content on both of those platforms. And then of course you have your Twitter, the Slasher app, Instagram, and TikTok, which I make completely different content for those guys as well.
That's fantastic. Very busy. So
Yes.
when it comes to your content, should we say? So do you find because there's a lot of buzz right now, should we say? I obviously don't want to get too thingy about it, but there's a lot of buzz right now between YouTube versus Twitch. I mean, do you pay a lot of attention to that, or do you just do your own thing and just have fun with your community?
I have fun with my community. I do my own thing. I do read. I do keep my eyes on it. I don't focus upon it because it comes down to, are you happy on that platform? I do like YouTube. I like YouTube for a few reasons, but they all have their pros and cons.
Yeah.
And I would have, back in the day, I would have went to YouTube if I had monetization on there over Twitch. That's just me. I prefer the how YouTube is.
Yeah.
They keep your VODs forever. You've got internal video editing, and you don't have to worry about, in 60 days having that stuff delete from you, right? On Twitch, whether you're a partner or not, your VODs and everything disappear.
Yeah, 100%. That is thanks for your honesty on that. So do you remember what your first stream was like then? Do you remember what it was like? What game did you play?
My first stream was very nerve-wracking. I did not use the webcam on the very first stream because I didn't know what to expect. I'm an introvert, like 110%. I am a hermit. I don't really go outside. I don't like to mingle with people. So my first stream was probably pretty lame. It was most likely quiet because I didn't know what to do. I just turned on the game and was just playing it, right?
Yeah.
Then my second time I streamed, I decided to use my Kinect, and I played a game called Outlast.
Oh, what a game.
And great game. I'm looking forward to Outlast 3.
Yes.
But that was my first time with the webcam and talking, and I got scared with the wheelchair guy, the guy in the wheelchair when you're passing him. Yeah. That was one of my most memorable times.
So did you have the cam? Did you have the mic?
I had my Turtle Beach headset, and I had my Kinect.
Oh man, what a second stream!
Yep, for a second stream, and then slowly, by the time 2017, early 2018, I had a PC set up.
Right. Okay. Let's talk quickly about Outlast, because how did we not talk about Outlast before? That's crazy.
I don't know how we didn't talk about Outlast. It's a great friggin' game.
So let's talk, because again, there's a big difference between Outlast 1 and 2. Very different games. So what would you say was your favorite of the two, and why?
I like the first one.
Yeah.
The first one, this is the first time, right? You've got your batteries. I found it was a little more challenging on the first one than I did on the second one. But I found also there was more jump scares for me on the first one than the second one. And I don't know if that's because I predicted the jump scares. It's kind of hard when you do play a lot of horror games that you don't predict them.
Yes, true. That's true. It's kind of important.
Another two games, State of Decay.
Yes. Excellent. There we go.
Those are great games. Number one's my favorite.
So when it comes to streaming, because you've been streaming for many years, and 4 or 5 years, then basically. So do you have any favorite streams that come to mind at all?
My favorite streams are streamers that I like.
Favorite streams of yours? What is anything that comes to mind in terms of memories from streaming?
Yes, I have a few. The very first time I started streaming on Beam, a partnered content creator raided me. Blew me away. And then my second time was doing a charity event with Stack Up Organization, and we didn't even have a charity event. It was just I was bringing deity on to explain to my community what charity I'm going to be working with, what it's about, and it turned into an impromptu charity event. We raised over $2,000 in 2 hours time. It was insane. That was one of my most memorable first-time charity events with Stack Up organization.
Holy moly! Do you do many charity streams?
Oh yes, I do one every year. Sometimes twice a year with Stack Up org. Because they give suicide prevention and awareness to our men and women in the military, whether they're active duty or non-active duty. And the military is close to me because I have family that is in the United States and in Canada that are in the military. I have friends that are in the military. And it's a really great cause because those men and women go through so much, whether they're home based at home or they're off at boot camp somewhere or they're across the world dealing with God knows what. I really like that charity, so I work. That's the only charity that I actually work with.
100%, 100%. Have you got anything coming up at all, charity-wise, or is there something?
In November, but I'm not sure what day yet in November that I will be doing another Stack Up.
All right, guys, please, if you haven't already, please give ReAnimateHer a follow and then check out what she's going to be doing in November. Please do. So when it comes to like streaming. Is there any advice you'd give to anyone that's thinking about streaming?
Don't give up. It's a hard thing to get into. It can be disheartening. It can be stressful. Can make you feel like you're going to devalue yourself. But don't give up. Don't give up. Be consistent. You're going to stream one day a week. Stream at the same time that day a week. But don't get disheartened and don't give up. A lot of people get into streaming because they see their favorite streamers having fun and making money and doing all this stuff. What they don't realize is where we were when we started to where we are now. Mm-hmm. Big difference, big difference. And a lot of people who see me now never seen where I came from, so they have no idea of the long, grueling time of sitting there talking to yourself for hours with nobody in the chat. 100%. And it's easy to give up.
Yeah, no, brilliant advice. So, again, just going back to your streaming schedule then. So, I know you play a lot of indie horrors, but I mean, do you play like a lot of games on certain? Are you a streamer that plays the same game every single day of the week, or do you change it up a bit?
I do change it up. I'm actually going to be implementing a new schedule because of so many games are coming out.
Yeah.
But I usually like to play a game and finish it if it's story based. Mm-hmm. So Days Gone, State of Decay, things like that. I usually just play until I'm finished. But if they're like co-opable indie horror games, then I play them whatever I feel like playing that day, right? So Mondays is usually Ghost Hunters Corp. But with all the new games coming, this is Fusa. She always Fusa. 15 minutes of fame, kitty.
Yes. Adorable.
Always.
Mine was
never fails.
It's gone.
Oh yeah, never fails. If I'm sitting right here, she's always here 2 to 3 times a day.
Yay. No. Yay. I love kitties. All right. So when it comes to so obviously we've got a big month coming up, haven't we? Let's be honest. And this video would be released in early October, so I can't say a date yet. But what are your plans for Halloween? We got to tell us. What can you tell us?
Halloween. It's spooky at my house 365, but yes. Halloween is the month, and I start off with my 31 days of Halloween. So I watch. Me and my spawn watch a Halloween, not technically horror movie, every day in the month of October.
Excellent.
Then in my Discord, we do have horror nights where I will watch a horror movie. For the month of October, I will be doing different cosplay for the stream, so different horror cosplays. I do them already, but these ones are more in depth. Like I'll do Pazuzu from The Exorcist, stuff like that. And on Halloween, I will be streaming. It's also my anniversary. I was married on Halloween.
Oh, excellent.
And so I'll be doing a short stream on Halloween. Of course, decorations. This does get decorated. I do take my time and I decorate it with spider webs and all that fun stuff. And usually at night, hand out candy to all the kids and eat my spawn's candy when she comes home.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, let's talk about you, as you alluded to it. Let's look at that collection. It's so amazing. So, I mean, how much? Obviously, a lot of it's movie related. Have you got any gaming related stuff there? Or is it just mostly movie related?
Oh yeah, I have a Friday the 13th NES cartridge. You
Oh
can't
my
see it;
god.
it's all the way up there. So I have that there. I've got some Destiny action figures.
Nice.
Um, I do have this guy here. This is another. I used to love Destiny, so here is.
Oh, adorable. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's a Titan. And I loved Cade, so I have a couple action figures of Cade. Uh, I have so much that
Yeah, I
I
was gonna
have to
say,
actually
don't
look
don't worry
behind
about.
me because I don't remember everything.
I know, right? Oh, it's so amazing. I love your collection so much. So, I mean, you've been collecting for over 20 years. You said earlier.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, well, okay, let's talk about horror movies and the horror in general then. So what started that off when you were younger?
When I was younger, it was around age of 5. My cousin, my aunt was watching me, babysitting me. And they had the old TV with the rabbit ears, and she was watching inside my grandparents' bedroom. She was watching Friday the 13th, and I was introduced to Friday the 13th at a very young age.
Yes.
Obviously, not knowing what's actually happening, but that was my first taste into it. And then as I got older, uh, around the 10, 11 age, I started seeing like Fangoria magazines
Okay. Yeah.
and started buying them at the age of 11, 12 with my newspaper out. Seeing Night of the Living Dead from 1968. That's what made me fall in love with the zombie genre. And then seeing Reanimator, the movie from 1985 with Jeffrey Combs as Dr. Herbert West. I'm also a big Lovecraft fan, so
Right.
um, I enjoy that. That's mainly where my name comes from. Is Reanimator, the movie, technically not the comic.
Hmm.
Reanimator of not the comic, but not the storyline of Dr. Herbert West,
Yeah.
the
Right.
movie.
So, speaking about Lovecraft, have you played any of the Lovecraftian games as well? Because they
Yes,
happen. Then because they've come and gone over the years, I think, haven't they?
yes, they have. There was a Cthulhu game that I played. There was another game that was very Lovecraftian like, which was Moons of Madness.
Okay.
Um, There's been a few of them that I've played. I don't remember the names of them. There's been a couple or Lovecraftian like type games.
Right. So again, going back to your content, then. So you obviously talk about you talk about like movie history, don't you, a lot?
Yes,
So how did that come about as well? So because you've got such a love for horror. So where did that
I
come from?
do. I love it so much that I don't really have too many people to talk about it with before I started streaming. And because my husband Heavy, he doesn't like horror. He'll
Oh,
watch it with me, but he won't discuss it with me.
yeah.
My spawn will. Um, but I started doing a show called Coffee Chat of Horrors back on Beam, and it started out as just talking about horror movies and showing off really cool cosplay from the Reaper Report, and that evolved. My show evolved from just talking about horror to actually diving in and researching horror movies and TV shows.
Hmm.
Then it evolved from doing that to asking guests to come on the show, like independent film creators. Since I'm a big indie supporter, I've had filmmakers, directors, actors, comic book writers all on the show. Uh, I do a lot of research for a film or a TV show that we're going to talk about, and I look for interviews. I don't just pull up like the IMDb and just
Hmm.
copy and paste. I go to IMDb, but I also utilize other websites and YouTube for interviews. Because
Hmm.
a lot of people will put up old interviews that happened in the 90s and the 2000s, and you can get a lot of good info from those interviews. I also watch and buy a lot of the director's commentary and watch the director's cut,
Hmm.
get more information, and then I bring that to the masses. And I tried it out one day, and people loved it, and so I started doing it more and more, and I've evolved it to where it is now. I love horror. I love learning about behind the scenes. I love learning about filming.
Hmm. Wow, that's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So, I mean, what's the future then for Reanimator? Is there a lot more in the pipeline? Is it because I mean it's growing, it's doing amazing stuff. So
It's growing for sure. One day, and then this is a pipe dream, but one day I'd like to have my own little TV show here,
yeah,
like on a public TV station. Nothing crazy, just maybe on a Friday night or something like that. Have a show very similar to the Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs going back into the '90s, or with Elvira, her movie Macabre, stuff like that. One day, but I'm very happy where I am now. I just like to create better content, more quality content over quantity.
yeah, and like you said, it's don't forget where you come from and the journey that you've gone on, and again, it's absolutely wonderful where you are right now, but it's definitely not the finished article, and that's what's so exciting and beautiful as well to see. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. But so again, are you did you say you were a full-time streamer?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I stumbled upon that. That just came out of nowhere. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it right off the bat. I had a job that was one of I really loved. I worked from home, so it gave me the ability to part-time stream. And in my province of Alberta, we hit a recession. So on June 6th of 2019, I lost my favorite job. And we were in a recession, so nobody was hiring. So I talked to my husband. I'm like, do you think we can do this? It's going to be tight. Obviously, it's a pay cut. And he's like, let's do it. Why not? What else? What do we got to lose, right? So I started my full-time content creation journey in 2019. And it's been going good. Like, there was a little bit of a wrench thrown in there when the platform that we were streaming on, I was partnered with at the time, was Mixer, and they decided to close the doors on us via a tweet. Nobody knew ahead of time,
right?
And so that threw a little wrench in it. But other than that, it's been good. It's a lot of work, more work than what I honestly thought it was ever going to be, and I work harder than I have ever worked anywhere else in my life, and I've owned 2 businesses before. So I've worked hard for them, but it's different. This is a content creation, so it's constant social media, constant online, where my other 2 businesses were services, right? So this is, I find, a hell of a lot more work involved, especially if you want to keep going with it and evolving with it. Instead of just playing video games or just doing this, you want to evolve in your creation.
Wow, that's a fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I had a question and it's gone. Oh man, that's what I was going to ask you. Yes, is about the pandemic. So did you, because obviously that you threw again another spanner into the works, but again, in terms of streaming, it opened up maybe more doors, or did it close doors, or a bit of both?
No, I seen an increase of viewership when the pandemic happened, because everybody was in lockdowns, right? That I did see an increase, and then you also, when we started getting back to somewhat normal, and I say somewhat normal, when lockdowns are no longer happening, people are going back to work, they're doing their thing, you definitely see the view counts decline. But it did. I met new people. I actually met a few developers and other people in the gaming industry due to COVID. So,
and again,
it wasn't all bad.
Sorry. So what you talk about, obviously, because you're a content creator across all spectrums, games, movies, everything really. How much? So what is the balance really? Would you say in terms of it being movies versus games? Do you see it being shifted in any way in the future at all, or where do you see that in the future?
Well, I still love playing my indie horror games. I want to be able to tie. This is one of the goals, to be able to tie and support indie creators for like indie games into my already situated horror career. So bringing in and doing the reviews for those games to give them more exposure. That's something that will be coming very soon to my YouTube channel. But I'm not really sure in a few years where I'm going to be. I have ideas of what I want to be and where I want to be, but the future is unknown, right?
Indeed. No, that's awesome. So again, just thinking about the gaming side of it, because obviously it's so much harder, I suppose, when it comes to video game history comparatively with with movie history, especially horror movies. Like you said, we got, like you mentioned, obviously all the interviews you can find, all the
Oh yeah.
the bonus DVD sections where it's got directors commentary or whatever. But do you see that being an element that you can do maybe in terms of like the gaming history of horror games in the past, of the 90s and noughties?
It's possible. That's possible.
Yeah, because there's so much to unlock, I think, there personally.
Oh yeah. I mean, research alone, it takes a while to do. Like when I do my coffee chat of horrors, it usually takes me a bit of time, about a week's worth of work of research, because I do look up things and I fact check those facts, because anybody can put anything online.
Yes.
And IMDb can be edited, so I take what I find on there and then I research those things to find out, and then I see if there's interviews, and so it does take a little bit of time to get all that compiled into a 2.5-hour session.
So, can you tell us about your socials then? So tell us where we can find you on all these platforms, just so we can line them up.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, Twitter, you can find me on there. It's ReAnimateHer, but at the end of the R, there's an underscore because somebody has my name. They don't even use their account.
Ooh.
Aggravates me.
Yes.
But on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Twitch, you can find me at ReAnimateHer. Exactly the way it's spelled.
Fantastic. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I'm actually kind of struggling for questions, really. But to be honest with you, I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and thank you so much, especially because of your schedule as well. You just told us, obviously. I really appreciate you spending the time speaking to me and sharing your story. And guys, please follow ReAnimateHer. She's absolutely amazing at what she does. Whether it's movie horror, gaming horror, anything, everything, she's wonderful. So please,
thank you.
Please give her a follow. But yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I had a blast talking with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Really, really, really appreciate it. Right, that's the end of the episode, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.